Hi everyone, it's kilzhot from 99 Gaming. This is Random Things, Season 2, Episode number 1. Boy, we are falling right out of the gate. It's going to be extremely random tonight. The moderators have been celebrating random things all afternoon. I've been getting some interesting voice chats and some different things going on. We had some speculation about what the topics were going to be tonight, so I do want to let you guys know we're going to talk Avengers. I don't know spoilers. If you know spoilers, if you've heard some of the stuff out there, please do not share it in comments. There could be some trolls that pop in from time to time, but I am going to give just a couple thoughts with Avengers. I'm not a super Marvel fan, but you know, I know a little bits and pieces. Infinity Stones we'll talk about a little bit tonight, and then I'm going to make some bold predictions, but they're not going to be spoilers, so they're just going to be kind of my ideas and my thoughts, and we'll talk about a couple of the other categories. Hopefully get a chance to sort of absorb those. I saw a couple super chats right out of the gate, so I do want to say what's up to Scott Kernan. Says, hey Kills, just showing my existence, so thank you. Appreciate you being here and a strong supporter. Part of that super chat spotlight, and also we see Pete D in the house rocking a super chat as well. So hold tight, because I'm sure Pete is going to have something related to someone leaving a show. Pete, I may call on you for an Avengers prediction a little bit later on as well. So we're going to jump right into it. Just to let you guys know, if you haven't been a part of the Random Things comments before, this is a lot about you. I'm going to pick a topic. I'll probably go off on a tangent, and then I'm looking for your thoughts, your participation. There's going to be a couple things that I'm really going to need your help with. But because of all the things going on with superheroes and space and Lost in Space and all of that stuff on Netflix, so many things, I got to thinking about space colonies. And I did a little bit of research, not a lot, because I don't want to bog everybody down with research. But I want to know your thoughts. Start out with the first topic on space colonies. Realistic? Will it happen? You know, you got Elon Musk and you got people, you know, flying all over the place. But here's a couple statistics that I want you to think about. Some of the pros to space colonization, but some of the difficulties as well. So part of the challenge is, apparently research was done on this, it costs $2,500 per pound to send something into space. So it's not just people. That is, you start building space stations and all of those things, $2,500 per pound. But here's some of the benefits to that you may not know. Energy. The energy supply is, well, it's pretty good because it's closer to the sun. So the energy supply is 1 billion times the energy that you can get in outer space that you can get from the planet Earth. So the energy efficiency is definitely something that is a strong benefit to colonization. Hopefully that circle of YouTube malfunction is behind us. So do want your comments on that. Energy obviously is much more efficient in outer space. And here's a very interesting statistic as well. No, you can't. If you listen to ELO in outer space, it doesn't sound quite the same, just so you know. I've done statistical research on this. But one asteroid, if it could be mined, if you could mine an asteroid, now I assume asteroids move pretty fast, but apparently there are 20 billion, no, hold on, back up, reverse it, $20 trillion worth of metal on one asteroid. Is that crazy? That is absolutely nuts. And I want to know, think of space colonization, if you've seen Lost in Space, what are some of the pros, what are some of the benefits that you could think of in being in a space colony? I think some of the cons would be cabin fever. It's like, you know, you just can't go out for a walk. It's there's going to be some issues. I got a couple comments, so I want to jump into some of the. It's a good question, Steph. I guess there's like machines. It's like a vacuum. It just sort of like deposits it, I think. Backfire says I'd find a date. No, I didn't beam out. I'm still here. Mina, depends on how big the space colony is about walking around. Yeah, but I mean, you just can't, you know, go to a lake, go to a rodeo, go to a mountain range. I mean, there are going to be the things that you're going to miss. I'm sure of all the subs we have and all the fans, there has to be someone that has researched space colonization at some point before. Or a television show. That's right. See, DDA, we can't go out for a walk, but you can still stream Random Things on 909. That's a great point. Walking Dead nerd. No thanks, love the outdoors too much. So, some of the benefits, I guess, are there any natural disasters in space other than being crushed by an asteroid? I mean, are there, I guess there's not wind because there's not clouds, there's not hurricanes, there's not tornadoes. Are there any space dangers, solar flares? Yeah, I guess black holes, but those things don't just pop up, do they, Pete? I mean, it takes like a while. Those things, solar storms. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Are there solar storms? We're really going to have, Chris, Fluff says Klingons. That's what I'm talking about. See, now you got me thinking. Yeah, you have to watch out for those Klingons and the cloaking devices. Those could always be exploding stars, gamma ray burst. Are you guys sure about this, or are you making stuff up? I think we're making stuff up at this point. Romulans, yeah. Well, I wanted to talk about it. I mean, clearly it's not something we're going to spend 20 or 30 minutes talking about, but we definitely wanted to at least set the tone, get in the right frame of mind. Just remember, Random Things Season 2 started out talking about space colonization. So one of the topics we had put up for discussion on the Facebook fan page was you guys voted on Avengers. So I do want to talk a little bit about Avengers because I've watched, some of the various movies that were out there. Guardians of the Galaxy really like, Doctor Strange. I've seen most bits and pieces, but I got to be honest, and no spoilers here, please. Please, no spoilers. I don't really dig down and research the Avengers. Like, there are people who can tell you every Infinity Stone, where it was at, when it was first introduced, what comic book it's from, who's partners with who. Like, I feel stupid here because I did not know that the Punisher was Ghost Rider. So, when I'm looking this stuff up, and I saw Nicolas Cage in Ghost Rider, and I've seen Shane as the Punisher, but I didn't know that that was the same thing. So I'm reading these websites, and is that correct? First of all, I want to make sure this website wasn't like trolling me. Let's confirm that first of all before I get too far into it, because then someone's going to say, okay. All right, before I give you misinformation, can someone else confirm what I did research on the website? So in the comic, is that correct? That the Punisher became... I'm telling you, I saw a site today. I'll go back and reference it. But it was in the comic, and they said that... All right, well, if a lot of people don't know it... Oh, okay, hold on. Let me retract that and go back just to make sure. Guys, I will find the source. Or maybe it was a special edition or something. But, all right, Mina's saying IGN and the comic book site both say that. Okay, well, I don't feel stupid. Because as I was looking at the Avengers, and I'm looking... The reason this came about is because apparently the Punisher got a hold of one of the Infinity Stones and trapped Thanos in one of the comic books, I guess. So let's do a little bit extended research, but it isn't just about that. And if people are watching the playback on this, definitely leave that in the comics. This shows you how extensive this lore is from the Avengers and the comics and all these things going on. So if that's a fact, then I'm not the only person that didn't know that. But I'm going to go through just a few things. I did do some research. Okay, other people are confirming. All right, cool. then we shouldn't feel bad about it. See, a lot of people are right, but Eric, it said Frank Castle became the Ghost Rider, and Frank Castle used one of the Infinity Stones. All right, so we'll get some of the links, and somebody can post some of the links. But do a little bit of research on that to see if we're correct. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Infinity Stones. All right, yeah. See, we all learned something. You can say you went on Random Things and that there's some information out there. All right, so there's a mind gem, there's a reality gem, there's a power gem, a space gem, a time gem, and a soul gem. So here's where a few of those gems have sort of surfaced. So the mind gem was in Loki's scepter. The power gem was the gem that Star-Lord stumbled upon. The time gem makes sense, Doctor Strange. The soul gem is speculated to be somewhere in Wakanda, because Wakanda is very mysterious. If you've seen Black Panther, then you know that. So just a few tidbits that are out there. Now, this movie is going to be of epic, epic proportion. So let me get back to that in 1 second. Do want to say what's up to Villar with the super chat. Villar is shouting out the 999 Army, myself, Kills, Emmy, Steph, Kale, Bree, Sweet Tommy, sponsors, and patrons. So thank you so much, Villar. Appreciate that. Appreciate you being here. And that's a good point. Mina said Ghost Rider has been played by multiple people. So, Jason, now this is a rumor that's out there that, so one of the gems, I don't know if that's the soul gem though. You know what? I think, is it the reality gem that is in Vision's head? Or is it the mind? Okay, it could be the, whatever. One of them is out there. But there is speculation out there that Thanos will pry that from Vision's head. Don't know. I'm just saying that there's speculation. It's not a spoiler. I saw that like 3 or 4 weeks ago. But what I do want to say is I'm going to make a prediction that there's going to be... let me ask the group this. How many main characters, and if you know the spoiler, if you know what happens, don't say it, but if you don't, kind of participate. How many main characters do you think that will die in this movie? Because I'm going to tell you, I think there's going to be 3 or 4. I think you're going to see potentially... And I'm going to give you a few of them that I think are going to die. I think Captain America's dead. I think Iron Man dies. I think there's going to be 2 major characters that are going to be gone. Vision could be. I mean, if they take the gem out of his head, that's a possibility. And I'm going to tell you why, Mina. Robert Downey Jr. is banking, I've heard, in the neighborhood of $20+ million per movie. Even cameo appearances, that he has a really good contract. And I think, one, he's made enough money off the franchise. I mean, that's just real. That's just the reality of it. They can afford him, but I think they're going to move on to a different storyline. He is making an unbelievable amount of money just for cameos. He signed a huge deal, and so I mean, he's racking up. The guy who plays Captain America, I've heard that he wants to get out anyway, so I think that's natural that they can sort of write him off. But I've also heard 2 other names. These are predictions as well. I've heard Thor and Black Widow. So those are the big 4 that I heard could be gone. Captain America, Iron Man, Black Widow, and Thor. Now, these gems actually have different effects on different people, so I don't want to get too far into the storyline, but hey, I don't know. I mean, I'm I'm just giving you rumors, not hardcore predictions or anything that's been speculated. And I think a lot of the rumors are just because of contracts. Contracts are up for all 4 of those characters, by the way. So they haven't signed new contracts. Just as an FYI. I'm sure there's other people are going to die. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually going to see it Saturday night. I will do a Avengers stream on Sunday. So hopefully you've seen it on opening weekend. But don't watch the stream on Sunday if you haven't, because we will discuss the show a little bit more in detail. That's just an early warning. The last thing I'll say about Avengers and Infinity War, once you fight, okay, Thanos apparently is in love with death. So once you fight someone that appears to be somewhat invincible versus death, which is pretty much inevitable, what's next? I mean, what's next for the franchise? Is this it? I mean, how can you top this? Who's your next big villain besides this guy? I mean, this seems like an end-all to me. And with a name like Infinity War, you know, are they just going to reset? I mean, how do you go back and do a Hulk movie or Spider-Man movie when, well, now Venom, I'm going to like me some Venom. And I do have to be honest. My 2 favorite superheroes, one was Green Lantern, until it was wrecked at the movie theater. And number 2 is Venom. I am a Venom fan. And the fact that I'm a Venom fan and a Tom Hardy fan makes it twice as good. Because I think that is good casting. I think it's going to be awesome. All right, and we'll talk about that at a later time. All right, moving on to the next topic, because we're going to get through all of these. We got a lot of things to talk about. Comic crimes, this will be a brief topic, but I just in fun, I want to throw out a few things that are different about comics now and that would not be socially acceptable. So, 1, Bluto, or Brutus. Bluto and Olive Oil's relationship was very interesting, and if you could put a crime on that, I'm pretty sure that he would be guilty of kidnapping. No doubt about it. There is this mouse that is in this one comic, and if you've seen clips of it, he was drunk, and he would sing, "How dry I am, nobody knows how dry." And that, I would say, if there were cops in comics, that he could definitely be arrested for public intoxication. The Roadrunner certainly is guilty of speeding. Elmer Fudd and Yosemite Sam probably do not have a gun permit. And Tom and Jerry, Sylvester and Tweety are definitely classic cases of assault and battery. So I want to get your mind going a little bit, and I'll call in a couple people and read out your comments. Are there any other comics or any other cartoons, maybe not comics, that's probably a bad word, any other cartoons that you can think of that you saw that would probably be either not risque ones? I'm talking about normal comics that you can think of situations where would probably not set the best example for people today. DP Gamer says, certainly, animal abuse. Marvin the Martian trying to blow up planet Earth. That would definitely be a good call out, Kel. So, Scooby-Doo. What official crime would that be, Steph? Petey Wheatstraw, Sylvester, multiple counts of attempted murder. I mean, you know, it's all fun and games when you're watching a cartoon. And look, and this is all in jest. I'm not trying to make everything in the world politically correct. I'm just saying that there are there's different tones. Pinky and the Brain for terrorism. Pepe, Pepe Le Pew? What would that be? Vagrancy, I guess. Captain Crawfish is calling out the person who hit the dislike button. You know what? Almost every video I do, somebody pops in and hits the unlike button and they leave. It's I got a I definitely have. Speaking of stalking, who is? Oh, Pepe Le Pew was a stalker. Yeah, he should have a restraining order. So you got stalking by Pepe Le Pew. Acme Company with mail order. Yeah, they definitely broke some postal laws. Casey, trying to cook Bugs Bunny in a pot when he's still alive. That's a good point. When you go back and think about these, there's some crazy, crazy stuff. Megatron and Cobra, Commander, every crime imaginable. Yeah, they're up there. Oh, Steph wants to know what was in the Scooby snacks. Well, Shaggy was certainly a hippie. I mean, Shaggy was probably, he attended Woodstock, so I'm sure those Scooby snacks had something in there. Wile E. Coyote was an arms theft, probably an arms dealer too. The beauty of these live discussions is, and you know what, I do want to give a shout out to Maggie B. And Maggie, I read your comment, and hopefully everybody in this audience hears this and people that watch the playback, because Maggie brought up a great point with the 999 Army and said, if you want to join a group that participates and gets involved, this is the group. If you want a 2-minute video of someone else just kind of throwing their opinion out, this is probably not the right thing. And I agree with that, because honestly, and we'll still do some videos from time to time, but I've gotten a lot of requests for gaming videos and for Walking Dead update videos where somebody can jump in and watch a 4 or 5 minute. And hopefully you guys have certainly seen the transition over the last 3 or 4 months, how we wanted more involvement and to get people into a group. And here's what I see. There's a lot of value to that, but some of the biggest value that I see is we can get more than one viewpoint, more than one concept. I mean, even we have a topic like comic books or cartoons or Avengers. The knowledge of having multiple people participate is so much more than my knowledge, and I'm humbled by it, by how much more you guys know than me. I love it. It's a good learning experience. I do these streams and sometimes learn a lot more. So moving on to the next topic, but thank you so much. Appreciate Maggie, that comment I saw a little bit earlier as well. We're going to move on to something we're all familiar with, and that's The Walking Dead Eugene. So you know what? I am awfully, awfully tired and over the Eugene haters out there. I darn well think it's time that we all regroup and give Eugene his proper due and pay the respect. Although he did puke on Rosita, it was merely in self-defense. So Eugene, in my mind, has learned. He is back. Rosita likes him. Rosita punched him. I think he came through. I feel like Eugene has turned over a brand new leaf. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be one of the first official members of the Season 9 Eugene bandwagon. I think if you can forgive Dwight, you're right. See, there's DP games right there. If you can forgive Dwight, you can forgive Negan. I think Eugene is going to be a rising star on the show. I think not only is he back, Garrett, I think he learned some toughness from Negan. I think he's got a support that Rosita's never going to turn her back on him. And now all of that knowledge, he's going to fix some solar panels. He's going to build irrigation. He's going to do some things that's going to make him add some value. So Eugene's not going anywhere. Justin Barrett says Eugene totally redeemed himself. And I'm going to hop right up there, and I'm going to be Team Eugene right from the start. So I'm looking forward to his story. In all seriousness, I do think he's going to start to add some value to the show. I think his humor is going to come out a little bit more, and I do think that he'll be trusted because now the the alcohol problem, the sleepless nights, he's going to feel like he is a leader. I think Eugene could be a leader. Oh, this is great. You know what? I love it. And Pete D, that is worth the super chat you posted earlier. So you know what? I am going to put my super chat spotlight on Pete D. This one was not super chatted, but he did the earlier one. That's a southern word, earlier in. Yeah, if you're from the South, that makes sense to you. Pete D says, if he kills Tara, I'll forgive him. That is classic. So, look, people noticed that comment before I even read it. And I think you got a fan club. Awesome. All right, so just want to get out. You got me. You got me choked up. I'm going to be so unprofessional. It's random things. I can be unprofessional tonight, right? Moving on to the next topic. I gave you guys a little bit of a spoiler. Maybe yesterday, could have been a couple days ago. I don't even remember. All the days are running together. But we are going to start talking about Game of Thrones. That's going to come out in a couple of weeks. But, and look, oh, the irony, oh, the timing. As soon as I said the word Game of Thrones, Valar does a super chat. Not a Game of Thrones super chat, but nonetheless, I'm going to get back to my next topic 1 second because Valar does have a super chat. I know we're talking about Eugene, but I have to question fear. What did Madison confess to the old man who ran the ranch and Nick heard? Oh boy, Valar, you were digging up some bones that I never thought I'd go back to that season of Fear the Walking Dead. I am going to tell you, I don't know. And that was season 3. So, can anyone help me with that? She did confess to killing her dad. Walking Dead Nerd says, I think it was that she killed her husband. I'm going to go with killing her dad. Yeah, that seems to be it. Some of season 3 I blocked out. Oh, it was? The dad was confessed to her kids? Definitely the dad. All right. Several people are saying it was her dad. So we'll go with that. We'll get an official post. Let's look it up and let's post like an answer to that question on the Walking Dead fan or on the 999 Army fan page. Cool. But thank you for that question, and there you go. There's the 999 Army bringing some knowledge, bringing up that data. See? I told you guys about the Ghost Rider thing, and then a bunch of people go back in the the archives and go to Fear the Walking Dead past seasons and get a little bit of information out there. All right, I'm going to transition to the next topic because we got a couple more topics that I want to talk about. Will not be super long of competitions tonight, so I'll explain that in 1 second. So we've covered 4 topics. As a brief commercial break, I do want to announce some things that we're going to be doing on the channel. I know I said it, but I still get messages and people say, hey, Kills, when's the next stream? So I'm just going to start with the first of the week, which is on Sundays, and that's always going to be Walking Dead Day. So this Sunday, we will have our our regular Walking Dead junkies. We will have an Avengers stream as well. We're going to have a Fear the Walking Dead countdown at 8 o'clock, and then we're also going to have the Fear reaction video that's going to be after, I think with the new schedule, it's probably going to be about 10-ish, so it'll be after Fear the Walking Dead. Then on Monday nights, we're going to do our complete recap. Tuesday will be random things for the next, tonight included, the next 16 weeks. So you got a lot of random things coming up. Wednesday will be our bold predictions where we talk about The Walking Dead, get into a little bit of theories. And then Thursday night is going to be where we start to transition over to the Game of Thrones chat, and that's going to happen within a couple weeks. And then I'm going to pick a time, I'm not sure of the day yet, for a brand new series that's going to be called What If? And we've done a little bit of that tonight, but you know what I'm going to do just to sort of get your mind racing a little bit? I'm going to ask you a question. What if Daryl was matched up against John Dory from Fear the Walking Dead? I've seen some people say that John Dory's going to be a new superstar, that they like Cowboy John, and there's some hardcore Daryl fans out there. But if they were both at 50 yards and one person had to survive, what if they had a standoff? Who would you pick in that showdown? That's what I want to know. I want to hear from the Walking Dead Army, and I want to see who would win that showdown. At least John Showers. Oh, Pete D getting out of the gates with a jab at Daryl right off the gates. But we got John. Hey, Daryl's got a crossbow and John has got his pistol. Graffiti Saint says John is a better shot. We finally get a Daryl rep with Fluff. Fluff is saying Daryl, but Bumblebee Brown is coming in saying John hands down. Faster shooter. So we have already, Kel says John has a better haircut. Ooh, Daryl's popularity. Valar says I love me my Daryl. Got to get me my Daryl back. So we're starting to see a little bit of the changing of the guard. I will tell you that if we would have put anyone in Fear against Daryl last year, I would have been ran out of this room. So I love the popularity. I love the hype around the show. So I'm going to ask each of you, and keep it clean, but in the spirit of what if, I want you to give me a what if scenario. Nothing religious, nothing political, please. What if? Give me 2 examples. And do not be offensive to anyone. So I'm going to challenge you to keep it honest. I don't want the moderators to have to jump in and play police. And I'm going to jump back to Scott in 1 second for a super chat spotlight. But since I've already thrown the criteria out for everyone, I want to see some of your what if scenarios. And this is going to be the gist of the brand new stream we throw it together, is I'm going to have several predetermined what ifs, and I'm going to ask for your participation. Tommy says, you know what, I like that. Tommy says, what if you woke up with no memory of anything in your life? That's going to be the first question I'm going to focus on, since Tommy got out of the gates really, really quickly. So, thoughts. What would you do if you woke up and had no memory? You don't know what you would do. Tommy, that's a mind-blowing question. If you don't know who you are, how could you know what you would do? Yeah. That's tough. Beth says just be happy. I guess you'd have no choice. Raiden Roach says, what if YouTube had competition? It's a great concept. It'll happen eventually. What if YouTube had competition that paid a higher ad rate? Maybe that would be a better concept. You know what? I like Rial. Tommy, because the memory thing is very dicey. So we're going to focus. So our spotlight on what if is going to be, I like this. What if you woke up and you were 18 again? Now, if you're 19, then you don't have very far to go. So I'm going to throw this question out to everyone. What if you woke up and you were 18? Mina, I think for argument's sake, yes, you would have to know what you know now. Otherwise, then you would probably just do the same things that you did from 18 to 25 or 30, 34, or wherever you're at in life. Yes, you'd still know. Eric Johnson plays a lot of sports. Oh, you're trying to find ways to, because you know the future. That makes sense. Ron Burgundy would hate it, couldn't drink legally. And that stopped you before, Ron. Come on. Ron, you didn't slide the guy at 7-Eleven $5 to buy you. Can I say that on YouTube? Retraction. The host never said that. I want to go on record of saying that Kilzhot and the 999 Army does not condone underage drinking, nor would we suggest any back alley deal in order to get someone a 6-pack of beer if they are not legally able to do so. There you go. All right, I think we're okay now. Sometimes you just got to make official announcements, and Google's okay with it. Tommy says, but we do condone getting smashed if you're of legal age. Great point. I just wanted this to be a teaser to let you know a little bit of what if is going to be like. I do think it's going to be a lot of fun to hang out, to do that kind of like random things. Random things will be all over the place. What if we're going to give some different scenarios. So as stated earlier, I am contractually obligated to put the Super Chat spotlight on Scott Kernan, who says, Kills, what do you think The Walking Dead needs to do to improve? So as a Super Chat spotlight question, I'm going to throw this question out to the group, and if you are watching this video in playback, please leave your answer to this question in the comments to show Scott Kernan a little bit of love here. Pretty regular Super Chatter. So the question is, what should Walking Dead do in order to become better for next season? Rial says, I'd like to see how they establish survival. I'd like to see it too without dwelling on it too much. I'd like to see some of the repair and some of the using the book. Graffiti says, bring back the horror of the zombies. I did like the Tobin scene. I thought the Tobin scene kind of got into that mode a little bit. Garrett agrees. Bring back the horror. Ron Burgundy wants more naked walkers. We're gonna have to keep a close eye on Ron tonight. Snowy weather and visit bigger cities. Well, the Commonwealth supposedly is up to what, 10,000 people or so? So with the introduction of the Commonwealth, there has to be, I don't know all of it. Apparently they're in Ohio, or they're a little bit more north, and they have a big group of people. What concerns me even more is not Ron's comment about naked walkers, is the fact that my moderator, Tommy, says, Ron, we have to hang out. So apparently if you want to hang out with Tommy, the sweet-ass enforcer McCandless, all you have to do is drop a line about naked walkers. Just FYI. It's random tonight, everybody. Yes. Travel to different places, search for a cure. Ron, you got a ton of fans. Like every moderator wants to be close to you now. Whispers aren't happening at all, I'm afraid. Paul, I think they do. I do think they get introduced. I think it's too big of an opportunity. I don't know they have to, make it a season and a half, but I feel like they've got to put them out there. Oh, there's some Daryl hate going on tonight. Mina says, "Hose down Daryl." You guys are you got to be in close combination with each other. Let me move on to the next. So those answers will be posted, Scott. So that'll be a permanent part of this video. So thank you so much. I'm going to move on to Valar Super Chat. So Valar says, "If Daniel is alive, do you think he can cross to The Walking Dead?" This would be Morales Part 2, where someone disappears and all of a sudden they show up. I mean, I guess it would be a crossover, but I don't... the Daniel thing is tough. I don't know what can happen with Daniel at this point. I hope he's not involved in this this group of baddies that's in fear right now. Could they send him over to the other show? I don't know. I think that's a little bit... I guess anything could happen, Valar. But I'm just going to go back for me personally and say the things that have frustrated me with the show is the over... too much coincidence. And with that being said, I don't know what I want to happen with Daniel. I tell you what, though, let me mull that over. Let me think about that a little bit. And on the next stream, just remind me of that so I can just... I do want to process that a little bit more. Walker Tobin says Daniel deserves his own show. Yeah. Maybe when the group grows a little bit bigger, I could see Daniel, joining. There you go. I'm going to answer this. Okay, this is the way that I would want to see Daniel. Let Madison do her own thing. Let Nick and Alicia and Althea and all of them develop their own identity and form a good base of a show. And then bring Daniel back as an enforcer, somebody that can get stuff done. Because I think he's that type of person, and I would like to see him do that rather than be, the anti-hero or, somebody that's... Because we've seen Daniel help the group, we've seen him hurt the group, we've seen his interrogation skills, we've seen him all over the place. So I think at this point, I'd rather just see him with an identity. That would be kind of my thought. And Garrett would like to see him cross over and kick Daryl's ass. You guys are hating on Daryl Dixon tonight. What happened? What happened to the Daryl fans out there? This used to be, if Daryl dies, we riot. Now it's like, we got John Dory. We don't need Daryl. So Captain Crawfish has a super chat, and the question is, what if The Walking Dead was on HBO, not AMC? Popularity. If The Walking Dead, I'm going to ask that in a two-part question. How do you think the popularity would be different if The Walking Dead was on HBO? That's the first question for the show. And number two, how would it be different? The first thing I would say is if it was on HBO, there would be some very... there would have been some very explicit Negan and Sherry scenes. And some, and the Glenn Maggie shower scene would have been like a Kim Kardashian Instagram post. It would have been something that was a little bit more than what we see on AMC. That's probably the biggest difference. And because of that, I do think it would still be as popular. Well, the thing is, Crawfish, Game of Thrones is on HBO, and Game of Thrones is much more explicit than anything on AMC. So, not that it doesn't have to be Cinemax. Game of Thrones is pretty hardcore the first few seasons. Now, it does seem to taper down a little bit after, I don't know, after season 4. But the first few seasons, it's got some hardcore stuff. So, if Walking Dead was there, I think that Robert Kirkman would just had like carte blanche just to throw whatever out there. It would have been much, much more aligned with the comic book. And we will discuss some of that. I don't know what it is. Raiden says, can't get into Game of Thrones. I was interested the first few seasons, but I'll tell you, by the time I got to like maybe 5 or whatever. When was the Red Wedding? I think that's when I knew this is an intense show. All right, but I'll do a little bit more research because I'm going to have to binge watch it again to prepare for you guys. So transitioning, the last thing with Random Things that we're going to talk about, and we're not doing an official battle tonight, but we will. So best movie songs of all time, and I know we've talked about movie songs and we've talked about themes, and some of the people are new to Random Things that you weren't involved in it, but I wanted to kind of lay some of the ground rules for this because, we've talked about random topics as we always do. We've given you a little bit of taste of what if. But one of the things that we do pretty regularly on Random Things is we'll pick a category or topic, and I'll give you like a top 32. And I'm going to pit different times, different places, different scenarios up against each other. So with tonight's episode, that's why I put number 1, I wanted to explain it. So if I give you a random music topic, then people will know how it works. So for example, this is what we would have done. And it's hard to do it with movies because movie songs can really last over about 100 years. And you could have someone that's 20 that has a movie taste. You could have someone that's 60 that has a different movie taste. But I'm going to give you a list of some of the top movies of all time. Captain Crawfish wants to know where the Endless Random Things love song. And what you'd be surprised to know, Crawfish, is that Endless Love is one of the top movie songs of all time. It is one of the top 100. So if we were doing this tonight, then I would probably say we are going to, in the first round, we're going to have Debbie Boone, You Light Up My Life, versus Kiss from a Rose by Seal. Now, who would you pick? If you had to pick You Light Up My Life versus Kiss from a Rose by Seal, which would you pick in that scenario to advance to the next category? Mina says Seal all the way. Seal. See, this is the way it works. So you actually choose who advances to the next round. So we would go through 32 of those, and you see all the participation, and everybody's going to give you reasons and why, and they could be totally off the wall. If we did, Eminem versus Dr. Dre, if we did hair bands, I mean, there's so many different things we can do, and this is what I want to prepare you for Random Things. What if you had to choose between Gangster's Paradise and When Doves Cry? Who would you pick? Between Coolio, been spending all our lives living in a gangster's paradise, versus When Doves Cry. I mean, it's different, but it's a tough choice. So we got a couple that would chime in When Doves Cry. Pete D says Coolio just because he's Coolio. Then they ride, ride, slippity slide, I do what I do just to survive. So let's say most people picked Prince. So if those were the categories, then we would have the challenging, daunting task of putting Seal versus Prince. And that's assuming, you know, we have a ton to go through. But you get the gist of it. You get how it goes. So really quickly, this is not the category for tonight, but it could be the category in the future. I'm going to give you several of the best movie songs of all times, just to get you thinking and how this would have played out. You Light Up My Life, Debbie Boone. Endless Love. Captain Crawfish. My love, there's only you in my life. There you go. That's all you get, Captain Crawfish. I said I wouldn't do it even if you super chatted it, but I did it. See, this is what I do as your host. I put myself out there during Random Things. Also, I'm going to go through this list. Everything I Do, Bryan Adams. How Deep Is Your Love? Bee Gees. Eye of the Tiger, Survivor. Flashdance, Irene Cara. Night Fever, Night Fever. Bee Gees, once again. I Will Always Love You, Whitney Houston. End of the Road, Boys to Men. Call Me. Staying Alive, Bee Gees. Have you see a theme here that Saturday Night Fever is like killing it with 3 songs in the top? Gangster's Paradise is one of the top movie songs of all time. When Doves Cry, Lose Yourself, Eminem, Happy, Pharrell Williams, Kiss from a Rose, Streets of Philadelphia, Bruce Springsteen, Adele, Skyfall, I Believe I Can Fly, R. Kelly, Men in Black, Will Smith, Independent Women, Destiny's Child, I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, Aerosmith, My Heart Will Go On, Celine Dion, and Over the Rainbow from Wizard of Oz. So that gives you Mrs. Robinson from The Graduate as well, Real. I mean, there's so many things. We'd like to know a little bit about you for our files, right? So you got all these different scenarios, and that's what we're going to do on Random Things. So next week, be prepared. We will start a showdown next week. So I got a couple more super chats, and we're going to wind this thing down. We got Captain Crawfish. Once again, wants to know, what about the best complete movie soundtracks? There are definitely some options out there. And this is some of the things that we're going to post on the 999 Army page. So if you guys are a part of that, Kel will post a survey and say, is there a movie topic you'd like to discuss? And I'll probably incorporate some of that. But yes, you talk about complete movie soundtracks, you would have to put Purple Rain up there. You'd have to put, you know what? I'm gonna make that. I'm gonna make that a super chat spotlight, just for the group right now. So I'd like to know if you had to pick the soundtrack from Purple Rain versus the soundtrack of Saturday Night Fever, what would you choose? More than a woman to me. Or, I'm not a woman, I'm not a man, I am something that you'll never comprehend. I would die for you. There you go. I mean, you get what we're doing here? I'm not singing Darling Nikki, Drama King. Just don't. Not going to happen. What would Dana Carvey say? Not going to do it. Wouldn't be prudent. Wouldn't be prudent. This particular juncture. I did see Dana Carvey on Conan O'Brien the other day. We've got Raspberry Beret was not from that soundtrack. That was working part-time at a 5 and dime. My boss was Mr. McGee. There you go. Now you're getting me into some Prince melody there. Okay, Xanadu versus Footloose. That's going to be the next topic. You know what? I'm throwing it out there right now. Who would you pick between Xanadu and Footloose? I got a feeling Footloose would crush it. That's my personal opinion. You're playing so cool, obeying every rule. Footloose, of course. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. We got some Xanadu people coming in here. Tough decision. How about, all right, we'll mix it up a little bit. How about the soundtrack from Grease versus the soundtrack from Top Gun? Grease versus Top Gun. And that's going to be the last comparison we do for the night. No Danger Zone, no Berlin, Take My Breath Away. A lot of Grease fans. Okay, now some of the Top Gun people are jumping in here. All right, everybody, that is just a little gist of it. We are at 55 minutes. I always have a blast doing these, and I just get caught up in the time because there's so many different ways that you guys lead the conversation. I want to thank everybody for being here. We did a lot of these last year, just had a lot of fun. It is a niche group. There's always going to be a Walking Dead topic that we will mix in there because that's sort of what brought us all together, so I do want to pay my respects to that. We will post a survey on the 999 Army fan page every week, so Kel will put that up in just a little bit, and I'll take one of those topics and I will add it to next week's Random Things chat, but the other, I'm not going to tell you. You're kind of on your own because I do want it to be extremely in the dark and completely random. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate everybody being here. Thanks to all the sponsors, all the Patreons, all the Super Chatters, the Super Chat Spotlight, everything that you guys do. Tomorrow night, we will do our bold predictions on Wednesday night. And as always, this is the closing credits. So if you're watching the playback, you can check out, have a good time. And also, if you're still here, if you can put a 999 in chat because I want to shout out as many people as I possibly can. And hopefully you guys had a good time and you'll be back next week. And we got Captain Crawfish throwing one more super chat in there before we leave. Says, thank you. Bring back RT. Love me to moderators. There you go. Thank you, Crawfish. Have a good night. And the shout outs go as this. Backfire 3851, Rublo's channel, Deborah Mooney, Cammie, all the moderators, of course, Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kel, Lenore Smith, DD Ohio, Maggie B, Graffiti Saint, Walking Dead Nerd, thank you, Ron Burgundy, who likes naked walkers and buying beer at 7-Elevens. Ron, sorry, got to call you out, man. Beth Burgett, Scott Kernan, thank you so much. Hippo in the house, Valar, appreciate you being here. Sixer shout out to Tommy, the sweet ass enforcer McCandless, also little Tommy and Jill. What's up, fam? Karen S, thank you as well. Well, Lonnie, appreciate you being here. Eric Johnson, Terry Jones, Rial, have a great night. Deidre Perkins, Garrett Farmer, Justin Barrett. Also, thank you guys so much for your participation. These streams don't happen if you don't participate in them. And, love the fact not only people listen in, but the people that actually type and get involved and allow me to sort of pick on them and call out some of their comments. That's what makes the stream. So thank you, everybody. Who else we got? Bumblebee Brown, Jason the Mixologist Daily, Gina Crockett, thank you so much. Captain Crawfish. Have a good night. I'm going to let a few people catch up with the stream. I see Fluff in the house. It's just the sound of silence. Wow, I see I had another Simon and Garfunkel reference that sort of tied into Miss Robinson. And also from The Graduate. Everything is like a degree of Simon and Garfunkel, probably. There's some crazy questions being posted at this point. All right, I am. If you didn't get a shout out and you're still waiting on that, I probably missed a few people, or you're waiting for the stream to catch up. I will hit all of you guys tomorrow night. Thank you so much. I'll see you at 9:30. Peace, everybody.